The following is a transcript of a conversation between Matías De Stefano, referred to as me, and his higher self, referred to as I am. 28th May, 2021, Muscular. Me. Under the skin, under what protects us, is another protective structure, right? The muscles. I am. Beyond the fact that they have a protective function, their main function is mobility. The muscles are those that will allow movement, flexibility of the whole body, and is one of the most important tissues to preserve the rest of the system, since they are responsible for keeping the body at a constant temperature. Me. Oh, I didn't know that. What I would be fascinated to understand is how they move, because maybe moving is so naturalized that we have no idea of the things that need to happen for us to move a simple muscle. I am. Well, it could be said that this system is a complex network interconnected with the nervous system, which sends and receives signals from the muscles to move. Me. How do the muscles appear? I am. At the beginning of cell development, cells used to live in liquid environments mobilized by water, so the environment was responsible for allowing their mobilizations in the environment, but they depended exclusively on currents to find food. Therefore, some prokaryotic cells developed the ability to move through a small extension that they were able to shake by spinning it in circles, allowing them to move through space. Me. Oh, like a sperm. I am. Likewise. However, eukaryotes found a more complex form, which was the articulation of cell groups, which specialized in mobilization. In this way, after millions of years of evolution, myocytes, muscle cells, emerged. Me. How did they communicate? That is, how did they know they should move? I am. Due to electric shocks. Me. As if they were electrocuted? I am. Well, enough to make them vibrate without killing them. Electrical pulses are small discharges caused in the nervous system that move information from one point to another, from axons, extensions of neuronal cells, which discharge a neurotransmitter molecule called acetylcholine, which transports energy to cell receptors at nerve terminals. It discharges an electric current to the muscle cell membrane, producing a synapse, connector bridge, which reacts to the cell membrane by depolarizing it. This means that a cell usually protects itself magnetically, for example, by putting all its positive charge outward to repel any approaching particles, and opens up to receive if its negative factors spread outward, making them receptors. Thus, acetylcholine drives to make this turn of polarity, so that the cell receives the discharge of energy, which will be processed by the mitochondria, producing the chemical reaction inside this cell, which has a particularity. They distend or contract depending on this discharge. Me. Yes, a minimum electroshock, which a body can feel when it perceives current in which the muscles tense, but in micronth of power. I am. The reason this happens is because muscle fibers, said muscle filament cells, are composed of two main proteins called myosin and actin, intertwined like a tissue. Myosin is thick and dark, while actin is light and fine, and both react to this electrical pulse by contracting with each other or distending, resulting in muscle elasticity. Me. Wow. I find it fascinating that what we see as common when moving any part of the body comes from such simple and minuscule mechanisms. In other words, a muscle is made up of a succession of long cells composed of these proteins, which react to the electrical pulses of the nervous system. I am. They receive these discharges due to environmental factors. The five senses receive external data that are assimilated by the brain, which takes the discharge to the appropriate muscle to react depending on the circumstance. Me. It's amazing, because everything happens in milliseconds, in addition in so many cells. How many muscles are there in a human? I am. About 650 muscles, which are divided into three types: smooth, heart, and striacum. The smooth muscles are those that produce the contractions of the internal organs and that we cannot handle at will because they are normally part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which implies a constant functioning of the viscera system. The cardiac muscle is known as myocardium, and it is an involuntary muscle that makes up the heart, of which we also have no voluntary control. Involuntarily, the heart beats between 60 and 100 times per minute, pulsing blood through the circulatory system. The best-known muscles are those that we have the ability to control or be at least aware of their movement, the striae, also known as skeletal, since they connect to the bone system. Its function is to move the structure of the body and generate action, by contracting or distensioning the muscle cells that cause the elongation of the tendons that join bone with muscle, and thus, as a kind of elastic spring, the structure is moved. Me. Why is it called muscle? I am. The word comes from the Latin muso, which means mouse. Me. Mouse? I am. Yes, muscle refers to a small mouse. Ulo. Diminutive. This is because the movement of the leg muscle up and down gave the sensation of a mouse moving inside, which is why this muscle was called, in Spanish, muslo. In Greek, the word muscle is myos, and from there arise words like myocytos and myocardium. It subsequently spread to all other muscles. The accumulation of proteins that receive electrical tension constantly makes muscle meat a high source of nutrients and proteins that store the body's energy heat reserves called calories, which are used for movement and to keep all organs at a proper temperature. Me. Why is 37 degrees adequate? I am. At more than 30 degrees Celsius, most viruses and bacteria, microbes and parasites usually die. So maintaining this internal temperature and pressure allows us to stay safe from infections from external agents that are usually at room temperature. So the muscles take care of this. Me. Interesting. I am. By what they generate, the muscles are organized in pairs called agonists, those that contract to perform an action, and antagonists, those that relax to perform the opposite action. Muscle tissues are composed of fibers, composed of myofibrils arranged in striations, which are incorporated within a layer called sarcolemma, which contains them within a set of various similar structures called fascicles, which in turn are arranged in sets. The endomysium is the interior of the muscle, and in it the circulatory ducts or blood vessels extend, all contained by the epimysium, the ends of which become tendons. The consumption of fibers in the diet helps to maintain muscle tone, which allows stability and flexibility, agility of the whole organism. Me. It's like without the muscles, not only would we not be protected, but we would have no movement at all. I am. Muscles are the visible body of universal systems. They are the millions of common cells of the cosmos that perform the functions of transformation. There are many forms of life in the universe, and most are useful as energy reserves to protect the rest of the sentient systems. Me. How? Wait, I didn't understand this. I am. Most living beings are functional to primary systems, reserves of energy, of data, that the main systems use for development. They protect themselves by surrounding themselves with them, obtaining energy from them, and at the same time, these cosmic muscles live on this energy generated by the sentient systems. Me. How to understand it more logically? I mean, as a human. I am. Well, we could compare it to a stadium of some sport. Imagine football. The 22 players will function as nervous and circulatory systems, in addition to the endocrine system. The players will generate nervous tensions and the circulation of hormones that will generate reactions in the stands. The grandstand is like a set of myocytes, arranged in two teams, agonists and antagonists, which will exert opposing forces depending on the signals sent by the athlete's game. The waves of electrical reaction will move the myocytes in one direction or another, causing a general movement that will affect the player's performance. In a way, the players provoke reactions in the stands, the public, to receive their strength by encouraging them to play with greater intensity. Thousands of people feed the action of 11 players representing the core systems. Me. This means that there are more or less 95% of beings in the universe who do not make their own decisions, but generate energy and response to the pulses of other beings who do put their intention. This is like ugly. I mean, it sounds to me like most people are cells used by a few. I am. What does that sound like? Me. Manipulation. That is what humans try to avoid in life, which are systems of oppression, conspiracies in which humanity is controlled by a few. I am. Why does it seem unfair to you? Me. Because it's as if a few live off all of us. I am. I don't understand what the problem is. Me. Fuck. That is... Some put the strength, the action, the work, so that a few stand protected inside while the others put out the body. I am. What's the problem? Me. That seems unfair to me. I am. How would you do it? Me. Let everyone be free to do their own things. I am. They are called single-celled organisms. They have functioned for millions of years. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes that have not gone further than being a single-celled culture in the oceans and swamps. Me. You mean we wouldn't be human without this system of oppression? I am. Your human mentality, your history, has made you interpret this as a system of oppression. But it is not. It is a system of order. If every cell in your body wanted to be free from the body, you would cease to exist. There was no purpose in being human, not in being anything really. You understand? Unicellular organisms are grouped into multicellular because each has one attribute but lacks another. Most cells possess the attribute of action but not of intention. They have strength, but they don't know what to use it for. Then, a neuron tells it what to do and where, and so thousands of these cells find a purpose. Without that neuron, the others would have died. Your vision of freedom does not come from the horribleness of the system, but from the diseases produced in an organism. Humanity today lives in a process similar to Tourette's syndrome, in which the nervous system is functioning incorrectly, leading the muscles to act erratically, aggressively, and discharging tension and actions without meaning or control. That's what makes you see that the system is bad, is that there are diseased neurons, not that the system is bad. Me. Oh, I understand. I am. It's like judging all the waters because there was a tsunami in Sumatra. You understand? It doesn't make sense. It is certain human neurons that are malfunctioning, and this makes you see this as a system of oppression without freedom. In all dimensions, in all systems, we all need everyone. Symbiosis is paramount. The innate capacities of each cell are useless without the interaction of the others, and knowing the potential of each helps to recognize the place one can occupy. Not all cells can be bosses. Not all can be employees. Not all can be teachers or farmers. Diversity leads us to need each other to become a being. Thus, most cells have the capacity for action, while a few have the impulse, and a few others have the intention, planning, idea. So it is, then, that what you consider an oppressive system in the human revolutionary vision is nothing but the most perfect symbiotic system of universal action. Me. And why doesn't it work for us? I am. Because you are a species in the process of conscious evolution. You are practicing how this works on a mental level. You are looking for the inner power of each cell, and you consider that not having found it is because someone has taken it from you. And no, it is simply the ability of others to manage that power that they have taken control of because you are not using it. Me. So, we must take back power. I am. And to do that, you have to know yourself. And knowing yourself implies discovering your potential, not believing that being free implies having the potential of others. That is the unconditionality, the network, the interaction. The strength of the whole arises from discovering the potentiality of each one shared in the whole, receiving the nerve impulses that activate the action. Me. The strength of the muscles is the whole of a species, and the brain lives through us because we forget that our power is not to take control of the brain or separate ourselves by freeing ourselves from it, but by taking the reins of our inner strength, knowing that it is for the whole. I am. We are all one. The question is, in what do you deposit your strength for that whole to move? You just know what you can be. Me. A bacterium, a prokaryote, in the ocean. I am. But together, you know you can be so much more. Me. I take the strength and example of my muscles then, knowing that the energy that protects the rest of the systems are the myocytes, the humans who put the strength to make civilization possible. I am. Recognizing that internal systems are the ministries and agencies that, if they are not sick, allow the strength of these actions for the whole. Me. We are one. You just have to recognize what each one's place is, and from there we can be everything. I am. Stand firm. Regain strength in yourself. Me. I am the force. I am. And with it, be flexible. The key to this system is not power. You know what it is. Me. Movement. I am. Then move. Exercise the body. Activate the muscles. Ignite the heat and strength in you and move forward in life. And in each act, you will know that you will be nurturing a being much greater than we all are. Me. And that I am.